when it comes to film and TV, there's this unreasonable expectation of like, we're all a family. And it's like, that's just not true.
That happens with art in general. We do that in theater a lot
Why?
too. It's like the whole cast. I've worked with people that
family I don't fuck with.
It rolled up the windows, it pulled over, locked the doors,
and called the police.
And called the police.
You can't choose who your parents are, and I don't believe that they should be held accountable for their father's sins. But I think you also have to just like acknowledge reality, right? You only are in the public eye because of who your father is.
Let me fix it.
Hello, and welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says, send us your taglines, because we want to put them on the show. I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm a TV writer, an actress, a content creator, a social strategist, a comedian. What else? That's it.
Hyphenates, multi-hyphenates. And I'm DeLon Grant. I'm an actor, a singer, a writer, photographer, and an educator. And welcome to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says it's Wednesday. We are here every Wednesday.
Yes.
And I was really, really happy that I don't always tune into the chat class. If you're new here, every Wednesday, there's a live chat that Fran is really active on and hosts. And you get to see the episode as it's dropped live and watch it live and build the community. And I was able to tap in because I was on my lunch break. It was really, really special.
It was so funny, class. Everyone was like, a celebrity is here. DeLon is here. And I was like, I'm here every week. And
Chop liver.
Truly. I was like, he didn't even know there was a live chat until it was me.
He really did it. He really did not.
No, it was so special. It was really fun. It's 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you can join us and watch the episode as it premieres live. It's really fun. And like, we have a lot of regulars and it's really cute.
Well, it just like the conversation that we're already having on the podcast is, it feels like, they're looped into the conversation we've already had. And I'm reliving it and also getting their take on what we're talking about, which, I mean, y'all are fucking smart. I mean, not that we would expect anything less. Y'all are smart. You have your different people. So you're obviously adding to the conversation. But some of the things you were saying about Is God Is, which was last week's episode, was really stuff I hadn't thought about.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that. It was nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into some headlines. DeLon, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, great. Class, I don't know if you know about this, but it's fairly new to me. Francesca's experienced this. These Waymo cars. Oh my God.
Hate them.
So if you don't know what these are, there's these self-driving cars. We are in the future. AI is taking over everything, as we know. But it's mainly, they're really active in California. That's why I say Francesca knows them, because when I was in LA visiting Fran earlier this year, we were talking about it, I think, in your car. And I was like, have you driven one or been in one of them? You haven't been in one of them?
No.
I thought you said you had.
No, I refuse to get into one of those things. I'm terrified. I hate the idea of them.
The headlines are insane. I have two here. So one of them, you probably heard about this one, Fran. These two teens were locked in a Waymo. So class, if you don't know what happened, these two teens were evidently drinking in the Waymo. Yes. And they were also had like a water kind of BB gun that they were shooting at people outside of the windows. So what the Waymo did was it rolled up the windows, it pulled over, locked the doors
and called the police.
Now, here, very controversial, right? I'm stepping lightly here. I'm stepping lightly because I get in trouble. I'm stepping lightly because, like, part of me is like, that is kidnapping.
Yes,
that's actually kidnapping. The law aside, the idea that someone can hold you against your will is crazy, and they're not the police. Right?
Correct.
But then these kids were breaking the law, and one might argue that the Waymo was doing it for their safety. I can't get past the liberty part of it. I can't get past of like the idea that this corporation was now taking my liberty despite the unlawful activity that I was engaged in.
I just think they should have just stopped the ride to be like,
get out.
And get out, and that's it. And you know, again, the call. You're right about the fact that, yes, they are breaking the law because they are drinking alcohol, but it's a matter of like, does the punishment fit the crime?
Exactly.
You're not their parents, and there are, safety concerns on Waymo's part because they do have these children who are drinking inside the vehicle.
Right.
And to me, again, it's just your ride has been canceled. You're not getting your money back. Stop, pull over. You got to get out.
Well, because it escalates, like in my mind, the idea that like I'm in a Waymo, you can pull it over. Even if what if I'm smoking weed or something in the car when I'm not supposed to be? That's also unlawful or against your rules as a corporation.
Yes.
So to your point, Fran, yes, stop the car and tell me the ride's over and then put a flag on my account. I can no longer ride in a Waymo, right? But the idea that you're going to pull it over and lock me in the car, that is kidnapping. That
could have gotten really dangerous. What if the kid had gotten sick inside the car, right?
Started choking.
I mean?
Right,
exactly.
Yeah, and so I just don't, I don't, that's one example, but I think that is wrong to me. Class, let us know how your opinions on this, but I just think like that feels like kidnapping. Again, you might argue they were shooting these water BBs outside of the window. That's a public safety issue.
Yes.
But again, I double down on what you said, Fran. Stop it. The car's not moving. Get out. We are calling the police, so you should get out and run.
Well, so in class, are you getting into a self-driving vehicle?
No, it's crazy. So this other story I wanted to bring up is this gentleman who was a big Waymo advocate, right? He lives in San Mateo, California. He's a business owner, loves Waymos, would do like social media videos with them, talked about how it was weird before they didn't have a steering wheel, but people got really, were like disoriented by that. So they put the steering wheel back in there because it's already disorienting not to have someone driving the car, right?
Yes.
So this guy gets into a car, and what's happening right now in California specifically is that there's a bit of a backlash over these Waymos and they're being vandalized. People are coming up to people with the car, or the cars are driving, people are coming up to the cars with people in them, spray painting them, hitting them. This guy was a victim of that. So his car pulls up to an intersection, it stops at a light, someone is crossing the street, and then all of a sudden the person starts beating the car, and then another person starts beating the car. So then Waymo locks, this gentleman can't get out. He calls Waymo on the overhead and he's like, oh my God, what's happening? It's being attacked, it's being vandalized. And he was like, just get me out of here. And the customer service employee was like, well, there's something obstructing the vehicle. And at some point there was a person, but then that person moved. They did nothing. They did not. They locked the car. They couldn't get out. He couldn't get out.
How long was he in there?
Until the police came. At some point, they did call the police. The police came. They took his story. But he was there's a video of him I saw on TikTok, and he was talking about it. He's traumatized.
Yeah.
He was like...
I mean, I don't want to victim blame.
I mean, not outrightly, but silently. She said, yeah, you should have known better. But I'm not
he's
getting
upset
in a Waymo.
He was a fan. He was a fan, and that's why he's really
and those are the best converts. You better watch out, Waymo, because more of these stories come out, you're going to have a problem on your hands.
Yeah.
But I also say this because I see them driving in my neighborhood a lot, canvassing, so they're also clearly coming to Boston. Oof. I don't want these vehicles on the street.
No.
I don't want to be in them. Someone was saying like, oh, they're a little bit safer than a human driver because their response speed is quicker. But I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't want to be locked in a Waymo. And I also, again, that disoriented thing of not having a driver that you can communicate with.
Right.
There was another story I heard where people mentioned, I think that maybe you mentioned this when we were talking about that like as a woman leaving somewhere pretty late, where there have been some Uber drivers or Lyft drivers that have assaulted women or people. And so the idea that there isn't a person there provides some level of safety for people.
Sure.
Okay, I get it. But I'm not getting in one of these. Class, let us know, like Fran said, if you're getting in one of these.
Well, and to be clear, I totally understand why there are women or people who've been assaulted in the past who have apprehensions about getting into a vehicle with a stranger. I totally understand that. But I do not for 1 second believe that these tech companies are looking out for the general public. They're not like, we're doing this for you. No.
That's a PR person spinning the marketing for you. Right?
Absolutely not. Y'all do not give a fuck. Because the reality is this is a way to save money. They don't have to pay someone to drive. And
Fran, I just want to point that out. That's what this is all about. Yes. It's all about saving money so they don't have to pay us. Thank you.
Yes. mindset. That's all it's about. Because as soon as they saw that, gig workers, because look, they don't want to give Uber drivers or Lyft drivers healthcare. So this, we care about the public. Absolutely not. I believe I saw an article from the Waymo CEO, who is a Black woman, P.S., and she said something along the lines of like, look, we're doing all these things to be safe. We haven't hurt anybody yet, but it's only a matter of time before she said straight out, she's like, it's only a matter of time before somebody dies. It hasn't happened yet.
Wow.
But they have to think about that.
Listen, I appreciate the mission, I guess.
Yeah, right? I guess so. But it makes me think of like a Sophie's Choice type moment where, yes, there's nobody behind the wheel, but if an old person is walking through the intersection and the car is coming at them, you are asking the AI to make a decision about whose life is more valuable, whoever's in the car, who's ever in the back seat, or this old lady. And it's doing the math. I'm like, well, she's old. So,
well, it's AI, so it can pinpoint her exact age.
Yeah, it's like, well, she has pre-existing conditions. She's probably not going to live. So, this idea of like, well, it has a faster response time than a human. It's like, I believe you still should have some sort of person behind the wheel, because there are unexpected circumstances that you're asking a computer, artificial intelligence, not real intelligence, to make a determination about. Perfect example, a guy getting locked in the car. Oh, we can't let you out because something's in front of it. It's like, well, if he feels unsafe, he should be able to make the decision for himself that he wants to get out of the car.
Right.
And now the computer's like, no, I know what's right for you. I am going to make the decision.
It's a slippery slope, man.
Yes.
It's a slippery slope because you just this kidnapping. I keep using that word, and I don't use it lightly. But I do think like you've taken my agency away from me, right? The idea that also I guess it's a safety mechanism. Like I'm going to keep you in the car, but like part of safety requires, I think, some level of communication. If it's not a parent-child situation, I need to be in not communication necessarily, but willingness, acceptance, buy-in in the endeavor. You know what I mean?
What if there's a car accident and the Waymo goes into a lake? Is it going to say, well, there's something on the sensor, we lock in the doors? And we've seen this with the Teslas where they lock and people can't get out of them.
Crazy.
There was somebody, now class, remind me in the comments, it was a politician or somebody's family member who died in a Tesla.
Are you for real?
I can't remember who it was. Yeah, they got locked inside of a Tesla. And I've seen a number of viral videos with the Cybertruck where they're showing how the glass is extra strong and you can't get through the glass. It's like, that's bad. You should be, if something goes wrong and I need the jaws of life to get me out, I don't want them to be like, wow, that glass is really strong. Bitch, break the glass so I can get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And so again, it just seems like we are solving for problems that don't need solving, And I think with Uber specifically, and I think Lyft has this now, that you can request a female driver. And
I think, really?
I think that's a great solution for people who, have maybe felt unsafe. That said, that doesn't mean that a woman can't assault you. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean that just because it's a woman behind the wheel that she might not be a bad driver or, drink and drive or again, get inappropriate with you in some way. But I think kind of what you're circling around, Delon, is the fact that like we should be able to have a choice.
Yes.
In if I'm going to put my safety in the hands of this driverless car. I think most people are assuming if there is an emergency, I will be able to get out. Yes. And the reality that you're not able to is very scary. And again, why I'm not getting in them in the first place.
Yeah, I'm really, it's fun and it's interesting, but I think an interesting thing that's happening in the world. But to kind of pull on something you were talking about, I think it's all getting away from us so fast. AI,
Yeah.
like I'm not able to catch up, and so I don't really. I've said this before with Uber. I was like, I'm not getting in somebody's car, and now I get in a car every day,
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
right? So this might change. I've reserved the right to to walk this back at some point if I become more comfortable. But the idea that there's no agency again is like, wow. I not no agency in like my safety in the car, whether I can get out in or out, in the kidnapping sense of these two stories, but also like AI is going and going and going, and I'm just expected to fall in line. I'm just expected to engage with it, and it doesn't feel like a choice. So I think that's a part of what I'm feeling as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every single time I've been in my car multiple times and looked and seen a Waymo next to me with no one driving, it's the creepiest thing.
Disorienting.
I hate it's so terrifying. That and those little robots going around the neighborhood delivering food.
Tell the class about these robots, because Fran, I had never seen these until I went to LA.
They have a lot of different brands. The one that I see a lot is called Coco, and I dislike it for many reasons. But this
like
motherfucker has eyeballs on the front of it, and the eyes are blinking.
Oh.
And I see them constantly, like, stopped on a sidewalk, like, kind of not knowing where to go. Like, they're doing this. And I just know there's somebody in their house being like, now, where is my Chinese food? It's just sitting on the curb.
They're like our DoorDash delivery things for food and
Yes.
all kind of things,
and you
right?
Can, yes, you can DoorDash food. You can DoorDash, I don't use DoorDash, but I guess you can do, like, things that are non-food items, like if you need it, I don't
like
know,
CVS or something,
tampons or something like that. Yeah, sure. You can use it for it. And what I learned from Shamika, because she ordered, I don't know, sweet green or something, and her food was stuck in one of those, and she had not requested it. She was real pissed because she was like, I didn't tell them put it in
this thing.
Yeah, like I don't know that you are, again, I know that they are doing this in order to save money, but I don't believe it's saving the customer money, because it's like she's getting the same delivery fee. And now here her salad is stuck on a corner somewhere because the sidewalks in LA, and there's a conversation to be had about accessibility here, that the sidewalks are all fucked up here.
Right.
But sure enough, you see it stuck somewhere because it can't figure out how to get off the curb, or there's some sort of like, something in the middle of the sidewalk or whatever. And I remember she was real upset. She ended up just canceling her order because it was stuck in one of those for a ridiculous amount of time.
I've watched too much sci-fi and fantasy, but I just had this like crazy vision of like the next generation of that. It has like spider legs so that it can just crawl and like not use the wheels.
I hate that.
I hate it.
That's
I hate
terrifying.
all of it, if I'm honest. Anyway, what is your headline today?
Well, things are getting messy on the internet because what should be a jubilous occasion.
Jubilous?
Is that a word?
Jubilant?
A jubilant occasion. It is the 10-year anniversary of HBO's Insecure. And so they announced that they are going to do a tour, a 13-city live experience to celebrate the series. And there's going to be a number of guests from the show. Tickets are ranging from $49 to $210. But the thing that a lot of people...
You're all crazy with that too.
Kind of expensive. But the thing that most people noticed was that Amanda Seales was not included in the list of cast members that are going to be on this tour. So people were in the comments, where is Amanda? Class, if you remember the show, Amanda played Tiffany Dubois on the 5-season series. People were in the comments asking about it. People were in Amanda's comments. And Amanda has released a statement about the situation.
She's loving this. She's loving this.
Oh, you know what? You and I are on the same page. She's absolutely fucking loving this.
Oh, God, yeah.
Have you seen the Netflix documentary trend where people play the strings and they sit down?
Oh, yes.
So Amanda did her own version of the trend, and it's captioned, Tiffany Dubois Netflix documentary about not being invited to the Insecure tour. So the video has racked up like 700,000 views. It's probably going to cross 1 million very quickly. And there's been this whole conversation online about who is in the right and who is in the wrong here. And, my opinion is a little more nuanced in the sense that Amanda has spoken quite candidly about the fact that she and Issa don't get along, that she didn't like the members of the show.
Right.
She was on the Club Shay Shay podcast last year. She did a 3-hour podcast episode where she talked about, that Emmys party that she was upset about, that Issa's publicist did not let her in, and she felt that the cast didn't stick up for her. And, she is entitled to her feelings. I am of the mind, you say you don't like them, so it's not surprising that they're not inviting you. I wouldn't want to go somewhere that I am not wanted.
Right.
But when I look through her comments, she's very active. She seems to be very upset that she feels that she's deserved an apology, and she feels that she should be included because she was a main cast member of the show. And there are people saying, well, Issa is not being professional and she should include her. And I'm just like, guys, if y'all have both acknowledged that you don't get along, a 13-city tour is a large endeavor. And so it makes sense that they're like, we're not going to invite her. Again, she's allowed to have her feelings, but I'm surprised that she's surprised or anyone is surprised at this point.
I completely agree with you. I doubled down on everything you said, especially at the fact if you don't get along, why... The solve is let's not work together.
Sure.
You know what? Because we did it for years together, and the
now we don't have to.
blew up. So let's actively choose not to do this.
Yeah.
I will say the take that I have is, I would be upset about the bag. I would be upset about not making money.
Sure.
And I don't know how much they're paying these people, but I'm not mad at Amanda for also trying to Venn diagram a little bit of the shine on it, because
why not?
Get my name out there, get people on my socials, get people on my Substack or whatever she has to make some money.
1,000%, because for whatever you think about Amanda or her online antics, she knows how to get the girls talking.
She's a hustler, baby.
She is constantly trending. And I went to her Instagram. She has a new radio show that's out on Fridays. She has a new album out. She self-published a book. She's very active on Patreon and Substack. Amanda is about her coins.
Right.
So she could have said nothing, but I think she knew it was advantageous for her to say something.
Absolutely.
Because she's trending on Threads. She's trending on Twitter. People are talking about her, and it stands to reason that they are then going to be like, well, what is she up to? I'm going to go look and see what she's doing. And so, again, they are, whatever drama that they've had, I think she's entitled to her feelings about it. But I'm of the mind, when you work with people, you don't always get along. And I think when it comes to film and TV, there's this unreasonable expectation of we're all a family. And it's that's just not true.
That happens with art in general. We do that in theater a lot
Why?
too. It's the whole cast. I've worked with people that
family I don't fuck with. Why is it suddenly we work together? We're all supposed to be friends.
Okay. But I also want to pull your word entitled. You are entitled to your feelings, but you are not entitled to a job. You are not entitled to a job.
Yeah.
And we all know that part of all of life, adulthood, professionalism is playing the game. I do it way too fucking much, and I'm trying to divorce myself from it. But just observing Amanda, I don't know this woman, but observing her, I don't think that is her jam.
That's not
her brand. She's outspoken. She's going to say what she wants to say.
Proudly about it. She's one of the things Amanda says all the time is she says, "I'm not for everybody," and that's the truth.
And that's the truth. And Issa and the team have discovered. I forget the guy who helped her create Insecure.
Prentice Penny, yes.
Prentice Penny and Issa were like, we don't get along, so it's a no for me, dog. But I want to also talk about the people who are coming to support her. Fans love it. Support who you love, But at the same time, I think the internet. This is a teachable moment. The internet tends to, behind your keyboard, you get real bold, not thinking about the facts objectively, right?
Yes.
Again, Samantha, Amanda, what's her name? Amanda is just, I think, too big of a personality, too bold of a voice to kind of fit into something that feels like it's for the fans. If we're just going out here to kiki and have a good time and make a little money, and I don't think that Amanda fits into that, given what. And I mean, what's the Kelly? Who played Kelly? What's that actress's name?
Natasha Rothwell.
Oh, Natasha Rothwell. I think she's brilliant, right? You need somebody like that on this tour, who's like a really big team player, an improviser, who knows, again, like as I started this comment, play the game. Who understands that, like, I ain't got to like you, but I'm out here. I'm a joke. I'm not push buttons.
I'm going to go home, and that's going to be it.
Eat my hotel salad and then get on the plane the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to also just point out, like, this is not a unique situation. There are tons of TV shows where it has come to light that the cast members don't like each other. Top of my head, Kim Cattrall and Sarah Jessica Parker, Sex and the City, hated each other. So much so that when they rebooted the show, Kim Cattrall said, absolutely the fuck not. And then she said, you know what? I will come back. I just don't want to be on camera with any of those bitches. She's in a scene for like 1 minute in a car on speakerphone. And that's it. And, you know, there's a ton of them. I wrote down Charmed, Alyssa Milano, and Shannon Doherty didn't get along. Very famously, Fresh Prince, Will Smith and Janet Hubert. I mean, the dark skin Aunt Viv, it led to her exit from the show.
I'll bring up one, Isaiah Washington and Shonda Rhimes.
Yes.
I don't know if you watch Grey's Anatomy, but Isaiah Washington was on like the first two seasons. I forget.
Yeah.
And then he had made some homophobic comments about one of his cast members, and they were like, they wrote him off the show. Nope.
They
goodbye.
sure did.
Thank you. So nobody's guaranteed anything. Nobody's entitled to anything.
Yes, the cast of Community has talked about the fact that they don't like Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
And Chevy Chase is notorious for a number of shows where people didn't like him. And that's not to pick sides. But ultimately, when you are cast on a show, you are spending tons of time together. You're up early mornings. You have late nights. Even though you got a nice hefty paycheck attached, you want to be on set with people that you get along with. Right. And ultimately, it's Issa and Prentice's show. They came up with this idea of a tour, which, regardless of what you think of the ticket prices, I think is very smart.
Very smart.
I can't think of, did The Office do a tour? Like, there's so many shows that probably could have capitalized on doing an anniversary tour. There's a lot of shows that are doing like rewatch podcast, for example, or they will do like a staged reading at a Comic-Con or something like that. It's super smart. And ultimately, the same way that they cast the original show, they are casting this tour to say, who are we going to spend time with? Everybody's not going to be at every single stop. Now, look, I think it would be very smart if they did bring her as a surprise guest at a stop. Again, get the girls going, get everybody talking.
Yeah.
But I don't really think that if they invited Amanda that she would want to do it anyway. Well, I don't think she wants to be there.
But also, knowing Amanda, you would invite her and she would show her ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she would literally take over the environment. She's a big energy. She's a very big energy. And that's why I love that she has a lot of her own platforms where she is the sole voice.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that I'm not in these rooms, but I don't know that she seems like a team player to me enough for there to be some controversy and to capitalize on it and to bring her to one of those stops.
Yeah.
That would be like, ooh, juicy, but it would get really confrontational quickly, I think.
And I think to your point about playing the game, and I would hope that Amanda takes this as not shade. This is like by her own admission. She's been very vocal about the fact that she is going to stand 10 toes down in her beliefs, whether it's advocating for Palestine or saying she don't fuck with Kamala or whatever it is, that has closed doors for her.
Yeah.
We know that to be true in our industry.
Yeah.
There is a lot of conversation around if you speak out against. We saw this with Palestine, right? Where people were losing their agents because they said that they, are against genocide and what Israel is doing is wrong. Like, we see that happen publicly. It stands to reason that it also happens in other arenas where if you speak out, and that, again, not saying that that is the right thing to do, but people make decisions about who they want to work with based on a whole host of factors, and sometimes they are unfair. I 1000% believe I have lost jobs because I run my mouth online. I 1000% believe it. I've had meetings. I think I told you about this, Delon. One time I met with a commercial agent, really nice guy, had a great meeting, and he said, "You're kind of controversial." I said, "Controversial?" He said, "Yeah, I Googled you. There's a lot of people on YouTube, they don't like you." And I was like, yeah, well, I host this show. I was doing Decoded at the time.
Yeah.
And I was unhappy that people were saying these nasty things about me. But I could also understand that a commercial agent is going, if I'm going to send you into a commercial for, AMC movies, and they want a blank slate to be the face of AMC, and I Google you and I see Francesca saying, "Fuck the police," abolish prisons, whatever it is, again, that I stand 10 toes down behind, I could understand that the brand might be like, she's got a little heat on her. I don't really know.
Her brand is not congruent with ours,
1,000%. And again, it is fair in the sense that, like, when it comes to at-will employment, you are not owed a job. The same way that we've seen, look, we talked about the Charlie Kirk thing, right? She got fired because she said something about Charlie Kirk, and she said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call my lawyer and I will sue you." It's different if you don't have the job. It's different if we're going, should we work with you? Do we want to? And again, the contract for Insecure is over. The show is done. This is a new venture, and they decided, we don't want to do it.
Let me tell you, I have had contracts not renewed. I did a show for 3.5 years, and then suddenly they were like, "Okay, we're not going to." I was like, gagged. Do you remember?
I remember I got that call.
I was like, what am I gonna do?
I got that call.
Here I sit. Didn't break me that long. But I also, I've worked with other people who were problematic in shows, and that show went on to be produced in another way. I'm speaking in code here.
Yes.
To be produced another way, and they invited everyone back but that actor because, again, they were problematic. And not only problematic in terms of the visibility of the show, which was the issue, but also they asked the other company members that we worked with. They were like, "Hey, tell us how your experience is with this person." And everyone was really candid. They were like, "No, they're really not kind. They promote a toxic environment, And as a producer, as somebody who is the boss, I think it's my responsibility to go, okay, so my other employees are telling me they don't like this person and they don't feel comfortable around them. You know what?
Can we afford to lose them? Can we afford it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, really fair.
Yeah, there's all sorts of factors. I mean, we know this because we work in the business, but in TV, this happens in pilots all the time. Where they'll shoot the pilot and then they'll go, "Yeah, we don't like that person anymore." Very famously, the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is not a show that I watch, but I have some friends that have worked on it. The girl who played the character's name is Sweet D. She's the only girl. She's the woman in the little group, the little friend group. One girl shot the pilot, and when it was time for them to pick it up to series, they recast her.
Wow.
And she's talked very openly about how painful that was for her. And I 1000% empathize. But also when it happened, I went, that's what happens in this business. It happens all of the time.
Yes.
And so I think the lesson that hopefully everybody takes from this is to do your own fucking thing. And I think, to Amanda's credit, she has always found a way to work. She has worked since childhood. Whatever you think about her, her resume is lengthy. She has a master's degree. She did the stand-up special. She did Smart, Funny, and Black. She's toured a bunch of times. She did that Jubilee thing, which, again, not a fan of, but it went super viral and drove a ton of traffic to her. She's very smart about how she uses the internet in her favor. And so I think this is a perfect example of that. She got us talking about it.
Right.
I wish her nothing but the best, but I think the conversation around, oh, it's unprofessional to not invite her, is just like, I have many a times, you're having a birthday party and you're like, should I invite this person and this person? They don't really get along. Or you're going home for Thanksgiving and you're like, I really hope this cousin's not there because I don't fuck with them. Like, that's just life. It's not anything special. And I think everybody's entitled to their feelings here, but ultimately, like, that's just it's not personal, it's business.
Right. Or I would say it actually is personal and it's still business.
Yes. It's personal and it's your business.
Okay. So mind it.
All right. Well, now it's time for the fix. As you all know, class, this is Let Me Fix It. We are solution oriented here. So this is a segment where we bring things from the world or our personal lives. We discuss them and then we would pitch how we would fix them. DeLon, is it okay if I go first?
Sure.
All right. So last week, P. Diddy's twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah, spoke out for the very first time post his conviction because they have released a clothing line and they are doing press about it. And this interview, they're 19 years old, so I don't want to be too hard on them. And that's why I pitched this as a fix, because I do feel like there's a learning opportunity here. The fact that their father is currently still in prison, and we have seen the videos, okay? We know.
We watched the documentary.
We know he put his hands on Cassie. We know he was involved in some illegal activity. We know that he has assaulted people. I have empathy for the fact that that is their father and that they have an allegiance to him. I believe that their teams really failed them because they should not be doing press.
Yeah.
They don't need a clothing line. We don't need to hear from them, and clearly they got some training, some PR training, because they said some things like, our press is our own press. People fail to understand that we are individuals. We are separate. He's our dad, but it doesn't mean that his press is our press. It's like, well, y'all, that people are going to ask about it. Like that is, to me, not a sufficient answer. Clearly they were coached in that response, in that regard. But also, it's like, okay, you guys are coming out with a clothing line. Is this really? I'm going to show you some of the clothes.
These old sweatshirts.
This is y'all just needed. I need to get these in the hands of the people. A sweatshirt that says 777 on it.
And isn't it called like 20 Twinley or something?
It's called 2112 or 1221, but it's spelled with twin in the middle. And I copied what they said. They said 1221 is very special to us. The name represents who we are. Our birthday is December 21st, so 1221. And as many of you know, we're twins, mirror images of each other, just like the numbers 12 and 21. Instead of spelling out the 21, we added a twist by weaving in the word twin into our name to embrace our God-given blessing of being twins. To me, this just feels like an agency put together some names, gave it to you. Like, this does not feel like a passion project to me. Because again, sweatshirts with numbers on them is just not anything special.
Yeah, I hear you on them not speaking. I think would have been more interesting. Not saying that they can't do press, but I think would have been more interesting to just drop the product and see what happened with it. Right. I don't believe the line about his press is not our press. Yes, it is. Because the only reason that you're famous is because you're P. Diddy's daughters, right?
Hello?
And you wouldn't have the money, you wouldn't have the cachet, you wouldn't have the opportunity you have without his fame, right? So you couldn't just start a clothing line and then have an interview without him. So that's a little bit of a incorrect in my opinion. The other thing is like you said, there's nothing revolutionary about these clothes.
No.
And we talked about Nepo babies a lot on here, and this is kind of my own feelings, but like I'm really tired of nothing special being or interesting about these kids of famous people. Some of them are really, really talented.
Sure.
I look at
Meryl Streep's girls.
Meg Ryan's son. I forget his name. Meryl Streep's daughter is very, very talented. I mean, with that pedigree, you kind of got to be.
Yeah.
Right? But they clearly work their butts off, and so I can't take that anything away from them. But like, this doesn't feel substantive. This doesn't feel like you're adding anything to the conversation. I mean, we've judged Jaden Smith on here being the head of Louboutin.
Yeah.
And even that feels like, well, at least it's being a little bit creative,
and he tried some weird stuff. This just feels like something you could get at Forever 21.
At Rainbow.
$100, $95 for a hoodie that says 777 on it. To me, I felt like they could have gone to fashion school. Y'all really love fashion? Go to school, get your degree, try a bunch of different weird stuff, learn how to sew, go be an intern at a fashion house, and come out with a collection, present a collection, and really show us we are about this fashion shit.
Right.
This, I don't believe for 1 second maybe they did, but like 777, who cares?
Girl, again, you can get that at Rainbows.
Yeah.
You can get that at Rainbows.
Yeah.
I'm not about this. That said, you know what? I wish y'all all the best. I hope it succeeds for you, because I do feel for them in that they are under the P. Diddy shadow.
Sure.
How do you live your life independently of something that looms that large? I think they're beautiful. They seem very fun. And they should have the opportunity that the rest of us have. So I'm kind of contradicting myself with the Nepo baby of it all. But I don't think that they're going to be able to get from behind it. So maybe this is the move. The move is like, we need to step out on our own and eventually have a career of our own, because we're just living off of daddy's money now.
Well, I also think it's the thing of like, you're right. Like, you can't choose who your parents are. And I don't believe that they should be held accountable for their father's sins, like they are their own people. But I think you also have to just like acknowledge reality, right? Kind of how you mentioned. You only are in the public eye because of who your father is. You only have access to certain things. Most 19-year-olds are not going to be able to hire a team of designers, to source products and manufacturers and do all of the stuff that put together a website, all of the things that are required in order to launch a product line, whether it be 3 items or 100 items. You only have that access because of your dad. So it's stand to reason that it's going to come up. But also it's the entitlement, I think, that comes along with a lot of these Nepo babies of like, well, I need to be in the arts. And it's like, well, maybe you don't need to be in the arts. Like you have to kind of read the room. And again, they are young. And so I realize that a lot of that is just because like they haven't experienced a lot of the world. But like, that's where I'm like, go to college.
Yeah.
Go to school. That's my fix. Go to school and actually one of the things I loved, Delon, about acting school is they made us do everything. You had to do the costumes. You had to hang the lights. You had to, work in the shop. You had to do a little bit of everything. And if you really want to work in fashion, that's what you should do.
And I'll also add, because we went to a liberal arts school, and the requirement for the school, we went to the University of Michigan, then Fran left me. Because we went to liberal arts school, we also had to take a lot of not only liberal arts classes. So we had to take writing classes, quantitative reasoning classes, all the shit that then I did not want to take. And I was like, I just want to act, I just want to sing. But I'm so immensely grateful for that education now, because it made me, I remember taking an argumentative writing class, and it broke my brain open, because I was like, oh no, this is how you debate. This is how you have a conversation. It it tickled the curious part of my brain and the curious part of my soul. So I agree with you on that. I also think, they have money. So why not take some time to travel? Travel.
They've been everywhere.
They travel currently.
They have been everywhere. But I'm also going to bring up the Olsen twins, because guess where they went? NYU. And the Olsen twins have their own line, The Row. And
that's a really great template for them.
They are a very successful, not just because they're twins, but like, you know, to your point about traveling and having money and having exposure to all of these things, they still knew, maybe it was their parents or they just had the foresight themselves as, you know, entrepreneurs themselves, to go to college and realize that going to class and meeting different types of people and taking all of these different disciplines is good for your brain. And so, having a lot of money and a lot of access doesn't make you a great entrepreneur. Like, I don't believe that these girls, again, are actually founding this business. I watched a bunch of their content. And to be fair, they're really well spoken. They're great on camera. Like I really, they're gorgeous. You know,
stunning.
They're stunning. But you're 19 years old. Like you haven't. They're like we've always had a passion for fashion. We've always wanted to do this. And it's like, okay, just because you've wanted to do something doesn't mean there's still not things for you to learn. Even the fact that they have this thing on the website about how the number 7 is really important to them. They were born 7 minutes apart. 777 is our angel number. Great. I get that that is meaningful to you. That's not meaningful to anyone else. And if you had gone to design school, they would talk to you about how to build an iconic brand, how to create something that people want to wear on themselves. You haven't done any market research to see, is there an audience? And you drop sweatshirts in the summer. Who is buying a hoodie in July?
You know like, what? You are. You are, because you always cold.
Okay. But if I'm buying, I live in Los Angeles. I'm not wearing a hoodie in the summer. And if I am buying a hoodie, right? Like I'm not somebody who wears a lot of branded stuff. But if I am buying something with a brand on it, something for $95, $100 something, it needs to be a brand that I love, that I already have faith in. Let's be real. This is drop shipped. And no shade, but like, you can't tell me that you designed this sweatshirt to be super special and revolutionary.
Oh, they're going to tell you that.
Of course they are.
But I think the thing that we're both circling around here is like experience life a bit more so that you actually have a better story to tell with the product. The idea that like all of this stuff, I love what you said, Fran, is so special to you. It means nothing to me. They're just numbers on a sweatshirt. It could be Adidas. It could be Nike. It could be anything. But I think the thing that I'm interested in is a lot of bit more of the story around your growth as an individual and how you came to be a business owner. That's why I said travel, but you were so right. They've been traveling. They're well traveled. One of the fixes that I have, not adjacent to the actual fashion brand, but this is why I've said for years that I think everybody needs to do a year of service. I think everybody needs to do, Habitat for Humanity or I forget, what was that government sponsored one where you go to another country? Yeah,
and they have you be a teacher somewhere in another community.
I think that we should all do that so we know what that is and know what service is and being service to other people, because this just feels not congruent with where we are as a society, right? It doesn't feel like meaningful. It doesn't feel specific even. No. It could be done anywhere. But I think I would be more interested in the narrative and the story, which is really isn't there at the moment.
Of course, 1000%. Because again, off the top of my head, I think about, what does it mean to be a twin? What does it mean to be, we're the same, but we're different? Like, I could see some really intricate pattern work, like some sort of pattern that has like a weird, interlocking thing that feels like, when you see those designs where it's like super intricate, but you cut it in half and it's exactly the same. Like it's like a repeatable pattern, like something that has significance to them and speaks to their identity as twins and tells a story, but can be appreciated by lots of people. Like that requires doing a lot of research and trying different things and like learning about the art of fashion just having money and buying stuff doesn't really mean you love fashion.
And you know what? This is also a little performative, a lot of performative. But you know what would have helped the narrative? If you were like, hey, we started this brand because it's so meaningful to us. And what we're going to do is we started a charity to help twins around the world. We started, I don't know, right? But half of the proceeds are going to benefit this thing that we are really interested in. We spent a year teaching in, I don't know, whatever place.
Yeah, sure.
And we learned X, Y, and Z. And so we started this because we have a platform and we want to do something meaningful with it to help support. Can totally get down with that. That has empathy. It pulls at our heartstrings. But this is just about them, which is not interesting because we barely know them. So
exactly. I think that's part of it too. It's like, I don't think they know themselves at this point.
Well,
and, you know, no shade, but a lot of the things that I watched, they talked about, because they did this whole press run to announce the clothing line. And even that, it's like, you have the money to be on Entertainment Tonight talking about your clothing line. Most 19-year-olds are not going to get that.
Right.
But they were like, we're always together. We're never apart. And I'm like, I would argue you should try being apart.
Absolutely.
see what the word, try dressing differently one time.
Travel on those private planes alone. See what happens.
Yeah. Like, you know, again, you're 19 years old. You have the world at your fingertips. Forget the fact that your father has done what he's done. Again, I don't believe it's fair to blame them for that, but you haven't experienced enough life to then say, I'm going to design a wardrobe that you can't live without. I will absolutely live without a blue sweatshirt with 777
But that
on
said,
it.
I wish you all the best.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes for sure.
Yeah. So popping over to my fix, I'm actually going to give this to the class. I'm asking the class and you, Francesca, how to fix this. So I have a birthday coming up next month. And we never really celebrated birthdays growing up. Like my mom would make a cake or she would get you a gift, but we didn't really have birthday parties. I mean, for me anyway, the baby always got everything. But I really didn't have that. So I'm not used to like making a big stink about my birthday. Now, I will say, when I turned 40, you've heard us talk about this class, I made a bunch of my friends fly to Spain with me and we had a bunch of events, right? So I scheduled like 3 or 4 events and it's also your own vacation. I'm so happy that happened. I'm hoping to do it again for the big 5-0 and planning that. But one of the things I want to bring up is I am not interested in birthday dinners. I think I do not want to go to your birthday dinner. Now people are like, well, I'm not inviting you anyway. But like the thing that I don't like about birthday dinners is the bill, right? If you're having a birthday dinner, I expect you to do everything.
To pay for it.
I expect you to pay for it. I expect you to account for people being late. I don't want to go to your birthday dinner because the bill sucks. And then people are like, well, I don't drink, so I didn't drink. No, girl.
Or pick a spot where everybody can get their own bill. Yeah. Like there's a lot of restaurants that do that.
Or like an outdoor area where there are a bunch of food trucks and everybody can get their own stuff. Absolutely. Beautiful fix. So I'm not interested in doing that. What I am going to do for my birthday is I've been riding a bike around Boston for 2 years and I use the Blue Bike. I do not own a bike. Blue bikes are like city bikes or publicly, you have a membership class where you just scan the QR code and you can rent the bike. I am going to buy myself a bike. I'm going to buy myself an electric bike. And I was like, I'm doing it, right? I don't know what to do to celebrate my birthday. I don't want to do a birthday dinner. I'm buying myself the bike. I might do like there's this place called Provincetown that I really like here in Massachusetts, so I might do that for a day. But I think part of it is asking people to celebrate me. My big 40th birthday was the time I was like, okay, I'm fucking doing it, right? Yeah. So glad I did it. And by the by, I paid for a lot of dinners there.
You sure did?
I paid for a lot of dinners there.
Good.
Y'all did. We did it?
Yes.
Shit, that shit was banging. But I'm not sure how to celebrate me. Right. So class, I really want any suggestions you have in the comments about, I don't want it to be really big. It's hard for me to ask people to celebrate me in that way. So I'm kind of looking toward doing something small and private for myself. But then I know what's going to happen. Invariably, I'm going to be sitting there eating my really nice dinner and be like, I want somebody here. or I thought about going to the beach. I live really close to the beach and just having a beach day. I do have to work on my birthday. So I'm trying to plan that. But If you have any suggestions, and Fran, if you have any too off the top of your head about how to fix that for me, how should I celebrate myself when I have a hard time asking people to celebrate me, and I also have no interest in doing the traditional things like having a birthday dinner.
Yeah, I mean, instead of a dinner, I mean, look, I'm a fan of a potluck moment. Like, you could do something in the park and ask everybody to just bring something. My really good friend Jenny Yang, who's a comedian, she is the queen of a potluck, and all of her friends can cook. And you don't have to cook something. You can just, go to a bakery.
Just bring something.
And just bring cookies from your favorite bakery. Or, people always bring pizza. They're like, I ordered pizza from my favorite spot. And or some people just bring alcohol. And they're like, that's what I brought.
Yeah.
So I feel like having like a park moment. And I was going to say you could ask everybody to do like a group bike ride to the park for you. Just kind of like, take the streets over and we're all on our bikes going to the park. I don't know if everybody would be up for that, but I think if you just say like, hey, I'm going to have a park hang. We'll be here from this time to this time. Look for the balloons, bring something and you can, have your own stipulations. There is a party that I've seen that's gone viral online. It's like a cake party where everybody is supposed to bring some sort of cake. And people bring these elaborate cakes that they've made. They bring store-bought cakes. They bring ice cream cake. You could just say like, I want cake for my birthday. Bring a cake. People can bring cupcakes. They could bring, cookies. They could bring whatever they want. I want desserts. I think you can make it whatever you want. I hear you on the not wanting the dinner thing. For my 40th, I did brunch, but I did pay for it.
But you did pay for it. Yeah.
I paid for the whole thing. And a number of people, they tried to shake me down. Well, why am I going to pay for this? No, you're not. I'm paying
it's
for
already
this.
Paid for.
It's already paid for. So drink whatever you want to drink. But you and I are very similar in that respect. Because again, I too hate going somewhere and then getting all caught up with the bill. And I'm not really a drinker. So oftentimes, but I feel like that's
a lot of the money that when you're having a dinner, not for nothing, but.
Right, exactly. So it's like have a party. And when I did the brunch, we did like shared plates of different brunch items that I was able to pick ahead of time. And I had to pay for like the rooftop space and all that other stuff. But like it was totally worth it. And I picked brunch because I didn't want it to be a late night thing. It was over at 2:00. And I was like, bye, I'm out. When it's your own birthday, you can't leave early.
Oh, no, girl.
Everybody's there dancing and doing the splits. And I'm like, God, it's 10:00. I want to go.
Wait, when I remember we were in Spain, all the gays, I had a mixed crowd. All the gays went out and they were like, "You're not coming," and I was like, "No, I have to wake up tomorrow because I have a boat thing with people."
But
right?
you know who was out with the gays? Shamika, throwing that ass in the circle. Her with a bunch of sweaty gay men, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed.
She better be in them streets. She said 40 who? I don't care.
Literally. I think a park thing would be really cute.
I think that's really smart. It's also really nice because it's summer. Boston has a really, oh my God, you know what? That's actually really great. So I'm currently doing a show, Midsummer Night's Dream Shakespeare Fest, if you know it. But we're doing it in the Boston Commons. So it's Shakespeare in the Park. New York does this. This is Boston's version of that. And I was like, oh, maybe someday before the show, I'll just like have a little day where I sit in the park and then I can do the show. That would be an interesting thing. It's free. So I could say, hey, meet me before if you're interested in coming. Meet me before and we'll like have drinks or something in the park and then you can come watch the show. Yeah. Especially because I'm doing a show on my birthday. So that's actually
now,
really nice invitation.
I have a question for you. Can you have a drink before a show? You know
I wouldn't
me.
be drinking before the show.
Oh, okay.
No.
I just.
No.
I'm like, I couldn't do it.
Wait, one time. So I was doing a show last summer and it was on Cape Cod and there was a restaurant really close to the theater. And, it was in between shows. So we had a 2 and we had an 8 and I went there for dinner and I was just like, oh, let me, whatever. And I started talking to this couple because they'd seen the show and I was like, oh God, go, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, you're drinking rosé, just conversation, but I finally let them go. They were very sweet, but I just was tired. They sent me over a rosé. And I was like, well, you know what? Who cares? I'm just going to have it. Then another table sent me a rosé. And then another table sent me a rosé. And the couple paid for my entire dinner. I went back to that show. I was like, I I was like, I need an espresso because
Oh yeah,
it was very kind of them, but it was too much.
Well, that's what happens when you're a local celebrity.
Trying to be. All right, now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the glow up, where we give props to those who. Oh no, excuse me, comments from the class. Comments from the class.
I mean,
Have I done?
We could do the glow up if you want, and then we could do comments.
Sure. Okay.
It's our show. We can do whatever we want.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Really? Well, now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the glow up, where we give props to those who've turned themselves around without our help. Do you mind if I go first? It'll be really
sure.
Quick.
Please do.
So I'm giving mine to Mitch McConnell. Class, if you don't know who Mitch McConnell is,
is it glow up, or are you challenging him to show up? Let's see where you at. Come on.
Los
I just want to talk for a minute.
Both. Yes, and right. So Mitch McConnell is the minority leader of the Senate. He is a senator from Kentucky. He has been in the Senate for, I think, 40 years. He is one of the many octogenarians in our state and in our federal government. Octogenarians meaning they're in their 80s. We need to get these people out. We need age limits. But he has been sick. I don't wish ill on anybody, but he had, I think it was a cardiac arrest. He needed to be defibrillated. He was rushed to the hospital. This man has been in the hospital since June 11th, and he doesn't want you to have paid sick leave. Okay.
Hello, getting the best healthcare money can buy.
Okay.
I don't think he's here. I think he's gone.
I think he's very comatose. They did have a proof of life photo with his wife, but listen, AI is AI, y'all. I'm not saying.
Why are there 4 things of hand sanitizer on the wall?
Okay,
it's just 2. It don't look right.
Crazy, and all those people saying I had a 20-minute conversation with Mitch McConnell. Okay, so. He went away, but then we lost Lindsey Graham. Did we?
Yes.
Did we lose him, Jalon? I don't wish ill of the dead, but these are really problematic senators.
Fuck him.
I mean, the crimes that he committed against the LGBTQ community, being
his
one
own
himself,
his own community,
because he was denying his own sexuality, is just heinous. It's just fucking heinous. So we lost Lindsey Graham, and then then this proof of life photo came out, and now people are like, Mitch is all right. But the reason I bring this up is in jest, because he popped up out of nowhere, and we know that he's been on his last leg for a minute, right? He's been fainting. We've seen him in public. I just
he's been buffering during a few of his speeches. Right? He just stopped in the middle of a speech and didn't know where he was.
He did. Oh, a couple of times. Again, don't wish ill on anybody, but these are just facts. So the idea that he again doesn't want you to have health care, doesn't want you to have paid sick leave, but is really taking advantage of it and not able to do his own job because he's incapacitated is nuts to me. And I think we need to have more conversations about that. I also think, again, age limits. But I want to have this conversation partially, but I said this is going to be quick and it's not. But I want to have this conversation partially because, Charlie Kirk passed and we couldn't say anything about it. Lindsey Graham, and then all these politicians are coming out and saying he was a good man. Oh, he made me laugh. But we forgot about the things that he did and he said against many communities. Mitch McConnell is evil. He's evil.
Yes, 1,000%.
One of the things that he did in particular was inhibited President Obama from appointing people to the Supreme Court because he was the majority leader at that point, and he just wouldn't bring it up for a vote. That is against it. No one said he couldn't do that, but he did, and he knew he shouldn't have, but it was a power grab. So the idea that we're not able to jest about these people, I think, is incorrect, and I'm bringing that to bear in the conversation. But the joke is that he popped up. He was gone, and then he popped back.
Yeah, I mean, the descriptor of popped up is very funny because it makes me think of a zombie just sitting up from the grave. Yeah, I think he's gone, and I think that they are holding out because we are heading towards, the midterms.
Yeah.
And it's just so frustrating that the people in power are able to manipulate our government in this way. And that's why it was so frustrating seeing so many Democratic leaders, eulogize Lindsey Graham, Cory Booker.
Oh my God.
We disagreed a lot, but he was my friend. Please. And
don't say anything.
Just say nothing. Well, and you know what? I forget this creator's name, so forgive me, but I saw someone say that I think we all need to accept the reality that when Donald Trump dies, a number of Democrats are going to do the same thing. That they're going to get up here and go, well, I disagreed with him, but my heart goes out to his family. And and it's just like, I'm tired of being the bigger person.
He wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. Why would you go out of your way? Well, because
he has gleefully celebrated other people dying.
Many. Yeah,
but they're going to do it
because they're feckless, because they're absolutely feckless and corporate slaves, dare I say, because they want to keep their seats, so they think they have to appeal to the moderate side of things. And you know what? I'm starting to believe that these people are just moderate, and maybe they do identify as moderate.
They're Republican light. They're Republican light.
Absolutely Republican light, and that's why I think we're seeing the DSA, the Democratic Socialist. What does the A stand for?
Of America?
Of America, thank you. Democratic Socialists of America really having an insurgents, because there are a lot of people who don't feel like the moderate Democrats or the establishment is speaking to them or getting things done. So that's why we're seeing some movement there. Yeah. But anyway, welcome back, Mitch. I hope the heart is doing all right. And we'll see you on the next trip.
Fran, I don't believe it for a second. My glow up is going to go to E.Jean Carroll, who has officially collected $5 million from Donald Trump after a jury found him liable for sexual abuse and defamation. As you all remember, this case came about in 2022. Where E.Jean Carroll filed this lawsuit alleging that Trump sexually assaulted her in a dressing room in 1996. And then after she came forward with her claims, Trump defamed her. And sure enough, she won. And that $5 million judgment has been sitting, waiting to, be dispersed in escrow, because Donald Trump has had, a number of appeals that all failed. Okay. And so shout out to E.Jean Carroll for getting that $5 million. You deserve every single penny. And I really, I don't know any Trump supporters in my daily life, but I know there are a number of people in the class who might work with them or have family members. And I hope that you can celebrate this to remind those people Trump is a rapist.
Yes.
He is a rapist. He is a pedophile. And I don't think y'all have any moral high ground to turn up your nose at the gays, the theys, the drag queens, the whatever, when your guy is a rapist.
Right.
And I also want to shout out one of my favorite podcasts, Criminal, did an episode with an interview with E.Jean Carroll. It is fantastic. I really didn't know anything about her before this, but it's a really powerful interview. She's so funny. She's so smart. She's so thoughtful. It is triggering because she does talk about the assault, but it's a really powerful episode. I'm going to link it in the description box. Criminal is, again, one of my favorite podcasts. And I love how they do, they've kind of done a new take on true crime. Like, it's not sensational. It's like really thoughtful and smart, and about technological advancements and telling people stories that don't normally get to be told. And that's why I thought this was really important, because through all of this, we haven't really gotten to hear from E.Jean Carroll. So much of the focus has been on Donald Trump and like him purporting these lies about her. And so I highly recommend listening to the episode. And again, I just want to say shout out to her. I hope she does something real special with that $5 million, because she absolutely deserves it.
She more than deserves it. And I can only imagine that E.Jean Carroll would have rather this not have happened.
Yes.
Right. She would rather have had an innocuous interaction with Donald Trump and left it at that. But this happened to her. And there's a big question around why it took her so long to file this suit. Well, she probably was dealing with it in her own way, but when you see somebody visibly on TV over and over and over again, when you see somebody saying you can just grab women by their private parts, she was like, oh yeah, no, he really does think that. And that's traumatizing to me.
That's exactly what she talks about in the interview.
Yeah. So now I really feel like I have to do something, if not only for me, for any other women he might have abused.
Yes.
All right. And also, I think, not for nothing, I'm not a woman and this has not happened to me in this respect, but I can imagine imagine like the bravery that it takes to even give words to it. So the idea that there's a woman that is standing up to her abuser, and I don't think it's about the money, girl. I'm glad you got the money. Spend money,
Yes.
spend the money.
Yes.
But to give other women a voice, like
Yes.
you too can stand up to the abuser. You know, I think it's really important.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was the whole crux of the Me Too movement, just in the word itself, to say Me Too, to say that like every single time a survivor gets justice or a survivor is brave enough to come forward, and that is, you know, people of all genders, because as we know, people can be abusers of all different genders.
Yes.
People can be survivors or victims of sexual assault of all genders, but it takes an immense amount of bravery to come forward. But every single time someone does, there's a trickle down effect where other people have the bravery to come forward and seek justice. And sometimes, you know, it could be past the statute of limitations. Remember, that was a big part of why Cassie came forward, is because the statute of limitations was close to running out with her situation with Diddy. And so sometimes it's just the catharsis of being able to be honest about your experience, you know, not necessarily looking for a financial payout or for somebody to go to jail, but just the weight that you've been carrying of this experience and how it colors the rest of your life. And that's really what E.Jean Carroll talked about in her interview, which is why it was so powerful for me to listen to as a survivor, but also someone who is in the public eye and knows that their voice holds a lot of weight. And that's exactly why she did it, and why I wanted to highlight and salute her, because I think you're right, Delon. There are a lot of survivors who are going to hear this story and they're going to say, you know what? I'm done being silent. I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
And what's heartbreaking is, even though she did have this result, Donald Trump has not had any real consequences. Like $5 million is nothing to him, and he's still our
not when
president.
he stole $2 billion from us.
Hello.
Ready?
Hello. And not when he has, you know, raped and assaulted countless people. And might I remind folks, again, the Trump supporters are not listening to our podcast, but like the fact that Donald Trump has not sued for defamation against all the people talk about him in those Epstein files tells me that he knows Discovery will fuck his ass up.
Well, right, because talk about litigious, okay? Donald Trump will sue you for looking at him wrong, okay?
Yes, but people calling him a pedophile, suddenly I've lost my lawyer's number. Suddenly I don't have anything to say.
Right, and his lawyer's right down the street in the DOJ, okay? Shoot.
Hello?
All right, let's get to comments from the class.
Yes.
I have a couple here.
Sure, go for it.
I have this one from Foxy Roxy 86. They say this was on our last episode about Is God Is.
Yes.
They say, I love this episode. I'm also glad this review was suggested to me. Hearing Alicia Harris, who's the director of Is God Is, hearing Alicia Harris's story is inspiring. I've wanted to create more, but often find myself discouraged by the creative lulls that have occurred over the past few years. It's never too late to pick up and create. I have an old copy of The Artist's Way somewhere. I should pick it up. Yes, you should. Yes, you should. Encouraging the hell out of you.
Also, Alicia Harris reshared our clip on Instagram.
Alicia?
So, you know, I might just slide in the DM and say, what's good, girl? Come on the pod.
Is God Is on the Let Me Fix It. Come on now.
You know, we have had beef with directors in the past, but we don't have beef with you, girl.
No, because we love that film. Oh my God. Yes, Alicia, we would love to have you on the podcast. Please get at us.
Yeah.
And then I have one from Lady L.Y. Bug. Ladybug, I think, just the second lady is without the A. I just finished reading The Way of the Fearless Writer by Beth Kempton. I feel like you both would really resonate with it if you're looking for something else after The Artist's Way. So I just brought that up because I did do a little bit of research on this book. This woman is a Japanologist or Japanist, like an expert on something with Japan. Oh, wow. She happens to be a white woman, at least for what I can see. So I'm like, okay, well, sus, a little sus to me.
Okay.
But it sounds interesting. The title sounds How to Be a Fearless Writer sounds interesting, and I think kind of both of where we both are. So that's maybe a potential class. If you have any of the books that you think we should tackle in our Sunday series after we finish The Artist's Way, which we're about 2 weeks away from, please let us know, because we want to kind of keep that up. Self-help is a big thing. Our friendship is a big thing that we also talk about. So if you have any other suggestions, please drop them in our DMs at FixItPod or email us, lemmefixitpod@gmail.com.
Yes. All right. So my comment from the class comes in the form of an email from Ebony. She says, I'm a big fan of the pod. I enjoy your content and your friendship so much. As a creative, I really love the vulnerability you two have shown in your Artist's Way series. The reason I'm writing is because I noticed in your most recent video how pretty Fran's makeup looks. I know in the past you mentioned that you have genetically good skin and don't do a lot of skincare, but I'm wondering if you have any tips on how to improve your appearance on Zoom or web calls. My first novel is coming out in February, and it's a lifelong dream. I'm super excited. However, I'm also chronically ill, and although I'd love to travel and do lots of events, I'll probably end up doing a lot of interviews on Zoom, and I don't feel confident the way that I look on web calls. Even though I look great in the mirror, when I sit down in front of my computer and turn on the camera, all of a sudden I look hideous and I want to turn the camera off. I'm not really a makeup girl, but I plan on buying some new organic makeup later this year. Fran, do you have any tips on how to improve one's appearance on camera, certain computer camera angles, makeup tips, use of certain accessories? Well, first of all, congratulations on your first novel coming out. That is incredible. And I do have a tip. My tip is lighting. I think people greatly underestimate how important good lighting is. And just to illustrate this, I'm going to turn my light away from my face.
Ew!
You little shit. So I highly suggest having a ring light, or if you don't have the money to buy a ring light, to make sure that you have light coming onto your face. So sit in front of a window. Delon, a number of times, you've seen that light streaming.
It's actually right here. It just walked away. But yep.
It makes such a big difference. I will link the light that I have, because what's really nice about it is you can change the temperature. So you can change the temperature and make it warmer or cooler. I usually keep it pretty cool. And then you can adjust how bright it is. This makes such a big difference. I get comments all the time that are like, what filter are you using? And I'm like, there's no filter. It's just that I'm actually well lit. And good lighting will fill in, the lines under your eyes. I mean, again, I do wear makeup before I'm on camera. I'll also say, this happens all the time where you're like, I loved how I looked at home. And then I saw myself in a photo and I'm like, oh my God, I look totally different. It's because the camera angle and like the way we actually see ourselves in the mirror, like the focal length of the camera makes such a big difference. So for example, I also have my table is kind of at an angle. If it was like this straight on, it's just not as attractive. So I always put mine at a little bit of an angle. Remember, Delon, when we were in college, they called it the MySpace angle. People would put their camera up here. Looking down on you just always looks more attractive. It kind of like slims your face a little bit.
I'll also add whatever lighting source you use should also be up, right? Because you never want any, if it's coming at you from above, it'll fill in all of the dark spots, as Fran was saying.
And not overhead.
Overhead, that's going to create shadows. You don't want the shadows to make you look older, right? The other thing is I have a light source right here. So when we're recording and it's a little darker here, I have my these lights on, and I have two little lights here. But this is what we call a key light. So that's the main light source, right? Generally put it to the side, because for whatever reason, this is how movies and TVs and photography, Fran, how the director of photography or the cinematographer generally lights things. When having a key light from the up to the side, again, mine is over here, it allows for the way we consume media with regard to TV and film, for it to be pleasing to the eye, right? So it creates a little bit of a shadow over here and a lot of bit of light over here, just really pleasing.
Yeah, I have mine off to an angle as well. Class, Delon is a photographer, so of course he knows about the lighting of it all. And then the other thing to think about, again, you're going to get organic makeup. I darken my eyebrows a little bit, and then I also add like a wing on my eye, so it just kind of elongates my eye. I always recommend, if you're not proficient with makeup, to practice before you have somewhere to go. If you are practicing knowing that you have to leave the house in 30 minutes or knowing that you have a Zoom call in an hour, you will fuck it up. Like, it is without fail. I can tell you this as somebody who, you're like, I'm going to try something new before I go to this party. Bad idea. Give yourself some time. And what's great is now we've got YouTube University.
Oh, God,
Back in my day, we could not go on the internet and find how to do your makeup. So look for somebody who has a similar skin tone that you do and watch a bunch of their videos. I'll also say, go to Sephora, go to Ulta, and say to them, I'm not great with makeup. My skin is sensitive. Tell me what it is I should buy. And more often than not, one, they want you to buy stuff, but they also don't want you to be unhappy. They want you to be a repeat customer.
Right.
So you can trust that the women that are working there are going to tell you, and they're going to color match you. And you're going to say, I'm going to be on camera. I also like to, if I'm going to be on a red carpet, for example, I learned this from Delina. Before I leave the house, Delina would take a photo of me with flash. And just so we can see what
it's going to look like.
What is it going to look like? Because sometimes what will happen, years ago, there were a bunch of celebrities that you could see this white on their skin because nobody had tested the powder, and they're all on the red carpet, and the flash was making the white blow out on their skin. So I always, take a selfie. I stand outside. When I'm filming in my apartment, I usually sit on the couch because there's a light source right there. So just doing a test run beforehand will be really helpful for you. But we're both using the eyesight cameras on our computers.
Yeah.
It's the lighting. The lighting is the secret.
Yeah. Like I'm two big old windows I'm sitting in front of, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Lighting. And also congratulations on that book. Send us the title. We'd love to know the title.
Yes, please.
So we could share it with the class maybe.
Please do. I'd like to highlight one more comment. This is from Vanessa Shanklin 7808. And it says, Delon and Francesca, I have just recently, in the last couple of months, stumbled upon your fantastic podcast. You two are consistently the glow up. I have to say, I truly value your dialogue. Recently finished your Golden Globes response to Sinners and your response to the new popularity of podcasts versus the news. And I wanted to share that we've all seen that a majority of mainstream media contain toxic biases and are influenced by the hand that pays them. When I tune into the two of you, you are careful to share your response, and Fran will always have done her research and flash her receipts. This is true journalism. I feel like I'm having a family dinner, engaging in intelligent banter, and really enriched by delightful anecdotes. Vanessa has been going through all of our past episodes and commenting on them, and I see them in the inbox, and it just warms my little heart. She said, I'm new to the pod. I'm getting caught up, and she really did.
I love that. Welcome, Vanessa. Welcome. And thank you for all your kind feedback. Again, Fran and I, we say this all the time. We would be doing this if mics weren't in front of us because this is just kind of our friendship. We formalized it, right? And made it a podcast, made it a show. But I really appreciate the way people are responding to it. And it is gassing us up. It does keep us going. As we say, we both have 17 jobs. Yes. So doing this is a labor of love, to be sure. So your views on it really, really matter. We can't thank you enough. And again, welcome, Vanessa.
Oh, well, this has been a delightful episode. Truly one for the books. I love when we do a little politics and a little pop culture.
Same.
And we get to share some personal stuff too. It's always really fun. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on so you know when we have new episodes. Every Wednesday, we've got a live chat at 12 p.m. Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern. And And you know what? I'm going to leave that in. I'm not going to edit it.
Don't.
Delon's scream made it worth it. Yes. Hi to the live chat. We love having you here. And welcome to all of our new members of the class.
And do not forget, send us your taglines at FixItPod on socials, LemmeFixItPod@gmail.com. You do not have to record it. We would love to hear your voice if you do.
Yes.
But Fran and I will happily read it. We love you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Delon.
I'm Francesca, and this was
Lemme.